The acrid stench of smoke still clung to Alex Thompson's lungs as he jolted awake, his heart pounding like a war drum. His eyes darted around, expecting to see the inferno that had devoured his life. Flames licking at the walls, his wife Victoria's screams echoing in his ears. But instead of fire, he was met with the cold sting of water splashing across his face, followed by a sharp slap that snapped his head to the side. "Get up, you lazy piece of trash," a shrill voice barked. Mary Thompson, his so-called mother, stood over him, her face twisted in disgust, a rusted bucket dangling from her hand. "Think you can sleep all day while Jack and Tom starve? Get to the fields now." Alex blinked, disoriented, his cheek stinging. The room was wrong. No sterile hospital bed, no charred remains of his old life. Instead, he was sprawled on a creaky cot in the attic of the old Thompson farmhouse, the same attic he'd been banished to as a kid. The peeling wallpaper, the warped floorboards, the faint smell of mildew. It was all too familiar. His hands flew to his face, feeling smooth skin where scars should have been. Young skin. Impossible. His mind reeled. The last thing he remembered was the fire, 1995. The blaze that consumed his small apartment in Kansas City. He'd built a life from nothing, clawing his way out of this godforsaken farm, only for it all to end in betrayal. His mother, Mary, had refused to help when he begged for money to save his business. His brother Jack had laughed in his face, calling him a failure. And Victoria, his sweet Victoria, had died in his arms as the flames closed in, her scarred face beautiful even in death. Worst of all, he'd seen it. Mary's cold, triumphant smile through the window as the fire raged, as if his death was her victory. But now, 1985? He glanced at the cracked mirror in the corner, catching a glimpse of his 17-year-old self, lean, unscarred, with fire in his eyes instead of despair. His breath hitched. "I'm back." The realization hit him like a freight train. This wasn't a dream. This was a second chance. A chance to rewrite his story, to protect the ones he loved, to make his enemies pay. "Move it, Alex." Mary's voice cut through his thoughts, her foot nudging his ribs like he was livestock. Rage flared in his chest, hotter than the fire that had killed him. In his past life, he'd been her punching bag, working the fields to feed her precious sons while they lounged and mocked him. Not this time. He grabbed her wrist, his grip iron tight, and stood towering over her. Her eyes widened in shock. "Don't you ever touch me again," he growled, his voice low and dangerous. "I'm done being your slave." Mary's mouth opened, then closed, her face purpling with indignation. "You ungrateful little—" "Save it," Alex snapped, shoving past her. He stormed down the rickety stairs, his mind racing. He needed to find them. His grandfather, Old Man Thompson, the only one who'd ever shown him kindness, and Emily, his little sister, who'd been crushed under Mary's cruelty just like him. He had to protect them. And Victoria? God, Victoria! Her face flashed in his mind, scarred and beautiful, shunned by the town for her father's crimes. He'd find her, too. This time, he'd save her. The kitchen was a mess of dirty dishes and stale beer cans. Jack and Tom, his brothers, sprawled at the table, snickering over a comic book. Jack, the golden boy, looked up with a sneer. "Well, look who's awake. Ready to plow the fields for us, runt." Alex's fists clenched. In his past life, Jack had stolen his college scholarship, forging his name to take his place at the state university. Tom, the younger one, had followed suit, leeching off Alex's hard work until the end. "Not this time," Alex said, his voice cold as steel. "You want to eat?" Get off your lazy asses and work for it." Jack's laugh died in his throat. "What did you just say?" "You heard me." Alex stepped closer, his eyes burning. "This family's done bleeding me dry. I'm taking Grandpa and Emily, and we're out of here." The room went silent. Mary stormed in, her face a mask of fury. "You think you can just walk away? After everything I've done for you? You're nothing but a stray we took in." The words hit like a gut punch, but Alex didn't flinch. He'd heard the rumors in his past life, the whispers that he wasn't really a Thompson. Now they rang true. "Then you won't miss me," he said, his voice dripping with venom. "We're done." He turned to leave, but Jack grabbed his arm, yanking him back. "You're not going anywhere, freak." Big mistake. Alex spun, his fist connecting with Jack's jaw in a satisfying crunch. Jack stumbled, crashing into the table, comic books scattering. Tom scrambled to his feet, but Alex's glare pinned him in place. "Try me!" he dared. Mary screamed, lunging at him with a wooden spoon, but Alex caught it mid-swing, snapping it in half. "This ends now," he said, his voice a low rumble. "I'm taking what's mine, Grandpa, Emily, and my life back. You want to fight me? Go ahead, but you'll lose." He stormed out, the door slamming behind him. The crisp morning air hit his face, carrying the scent of hay and freedom. The farm stretched out before him, acres of neglect, a symbol of his old life's chains. But now, he had something more. A spark ignited in his mind, a memory from the fire, a strange, shimmering void he'd seen in his final moments, filled with seeds, tools, and supplies from a future he'd never lived to see. A secret weapon. As he marched toward the barn to find his grandfather, Alex's lips curled into a grim smile. Mary, Jack, Tom. They thought they'd broken him. They were wrong. This time, he'd build an empire, protect his real family, and make Victoria his queen. And God help anyone who stood in his way. The morning sun barely pierced the fog over the Thompson farm, but Alex Thompson felt like a storm was brewing inside him. His boots crunched against the gravel as he strode toward the barn, his grandfather's sanctuary, where Old Man Thompson spent his days hiding from Mary's venom. Alex's jaw was still tight from the fight in the kitchen. Jack's stunned face as he hit the floor, Mary's shrieks ringing in his ears. He'd meant every word. He was done being their mule, but words alone wouldn't free him. He needed a plan, and fast. Inside the barn, the air was thick with the smell of hay and old leather. Old Man Thompson sat on a rickety stool, his gnarled hands polishing a fishing rod, his eyes distant. "Grandpa," Alex called softly, his voice catching. The old man looked up, his weathered face softening with a warmth Alex hadn't felt in years, not since the fire stole everything. "Alex, boy," Grandpa rasped, his voice frail but kind. "What's got you storming in like a bull? Mary giving you hell again?" Alex knelt beside him, his heart twisting. In his past life, Grandpa had been his only ally, sneaking him extra food when Mary starved him, teaching him to fish when the world felt too heavy. But he'd died alone, broken by Mary's cruelty. Not this time. "We're leaving," Alex said, his voice steady but fierce. "You, me, and Emily. I'm done with this place." Grandpa's eyes widened, a flicker of fear crossing his face. "You know Mary won't let that happen. She'll raise hell, boy." "Let her try," Alex growled. "I'm not the kid she used to kick around." He stood, helping Grandpa to his feet. "Pack your things. We're moving to the fishing cabin by the lake. It's ours now." As they stepped outside, Emily appeared, her thin frame hunched under a basket of laundry. Her braid was frayed, her eyes hollow from endless chores. At 14, she was already buckling under Mary's demands, just as Alex had. "Emily," he called, his voice softer now. She froze, startled as if expecting a blow. "Put that down. You're not their maid anymore." Her lips trembled. "But Mom'll kill me, Alex." "She's not your mom," Alex said, the words sharp with truth. He'd overheard the whispers in his past life, and Grandpa's confession this morning confirmed it. Mary wasn't their mother. They were strays she'd taken in to work her farm, nothing more. "We're family, me, you, and Grandpa. That's all that matters." Emily's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded, dropping the basket. The three of them headed toward the cabin, a rundown shack by the lake that Mary had long abandoned. It was a start, a place to rebuild. But as they walked, Alex's mind churned. He needed money, land, power. And then there was Victoria. Her face haunted him, scarred, shunned, but fiercely loyal. He'd find her today, no matter what. That night, as the cabin's single bulb flickered, Alex lay on a creaky cot, staring at the ceiling. Emily and Grandpa were asleep, their soft breathing a reminder of what he was fighting for. But sleep wouldn't come. His mind kept replaying the fire, the betrayal, and something else. A shimmering void he'd seen in his final moments, a space filled with strange, glowing objects. Seeds, tools, supplies from a future he'd never reached. It felt like a fever dream, but it was too real. He closed his eyes, willing himself back to that place. A jolt ran through him, like lightning in his veins. And suddenly, he was there. A vast, misty field under a starless sky. Rows of seeds lined the ground. Watermelons without seeds. Bell peppers in colors he'd never seen in 1985. Crates of instant noodles, medicines, even fish fry glowing faintly in glass tanks. His heart raced. This is it. A cheat code for his new life. He reached out, grabbing a sack of seeds and a crate of noodles, and when he opened his eyes, they were there, solid and real, on the cabin floor. "Holy hell," he whispered, his hands shaking. This was power, real power. He could grow crops no one in this backwater town had ever seen, sell them for a fortune, and build a life Mary couldn't touch. But he had to be smart. If anyone found out about this, he'd be a target. By dawn, Alex was at the lake, dumping glowing fish fry from the void into the water. They shimmered as they swam, unnatural but alive. He planted the strange seeds in a patch of cleared land behind the cabin. Watermelons, peppers, cucumbers that looked like they belonged in a sci-fi flick. If this worked, he'd have a gold mine. His next stop was Victoria's place. The Reyes shack was a mile down the dirt road, a crumbling heap the town called the convict's dump. Victoria's father had been locked up for robbery, and the town never let her forget it. Alex's heart pounded as he approached, a sack of supplies from the void, rice, salt, bacon, slung over his shoulder. He remembered her from his past life, the girl who'd shared her lunch when he was starving, who'd loved him despite her scars. He'd failed her then. Not now. Victoria was outside, scrubbing clothes in a tin bucket, her face half hidden by a scarf to cover the burns from a childhood accident. 3 kids, Trent, Blackie, and Danny, circled her, throwing stones and chanting, "Convict's daughter, freak!" Alex's blood boiled. He dropped the sack and charged, grabbing Trent by the collar and lifting him off the ground. "Throw one more rock and I'll bury you in that mud," he snarled. The boys froze, eyes wide. "Get lost, now!" They scattered, but not before Blackie spat, "You're just as trashy as her, Thompson." Alex let it slide. He'd deal with them later. Victoria's eyes met his, wary but curious. "Why'd you do that?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Because you don't deserve this," Alex said, setting the sack at her feet. This is for you and Sophia. No one's going to hurt you anymore." Her hands trembled as she peeked inside, her eyes widening at the food. "Alex, why? People like me don't get kindness." He stepped closer, his voice low. "Because I see you, Victoria. Not the scars, not the rumors. You." Her breath hitched, and for a moment, he thought she'd cry. But she just nodded, clutching the sack like a lifeline. As he walked away, a shout stopped him. "Thief!" A wiry woman, Miss Clara, the town gossip, stormed toward them, pointing at Victoria. "She stole that food from my store. I know it." Alex spun, his temper flaring. "It's mine," he said, stepping between them. "I brought it. You got a problem, Clara. Take it up with me." Clara's face twisted, but the crowd gathering behind her murmured. She wasn't backing down. "Prove it, Thompson, or I'll have the sheriff haul you both in." Alex's heart raced. This was his first test in this new life. He couldn't let Clara win. Not for him, not for Victoria. He squared his shoulders, ready to fight. "Fine," he said, his voice cold. "Let's settle this. Right now." The dusty streets of Willow Creek felt like a battlefield as Alex led Trent, Blackie, and Danny toward the general store, their pockets jingling with the few bucks he'd given them from his first void harvest. A small stash of instant noodles turned into a makeshift reward. The boys, once bullies, now trailed him like lost pups, munching on the treats he'd conjured. "This stuff's magic, Alex," Blackie exclaimed, his face smeared with crumbs. But Alex's mind was elsewhere, replaying Clara's accusation. Victoria's tear-streaked face haunted him. He wouldn't let the town grind her down again. At the store, chaos erupted. Lucy, the snide clerk with a chip on her shoulder, sneered at the boys' ragged clothes. "What, you little thieves think you can buy candy with stolen dimes?" she barked, slamming her fist on the counter. The boys froze, their excitement shattering like glass. Alex stepped forward, his voice a thunderclap. "They're with me, and that money's earned fair and square." Lucy's eyes narrowed, her lips curling into a venomous smile. "Earned? From what, robbing the poorhouse? You Thompsons are all trash. Your ma's a drunk. Your brothers are leeches, and you're just the stray dog they kicked around." The words hit like a sucker punch, echoing the betrayals of his past life. The store went silent, customers whispering as tension crackled in the air. Alex's fists clenched, but he held back, for now. "Apologize," he demanded, his tone ice-cold. "To them. To me. Or I'll make sure the whole town knows what a bully you are." Lucy laughed, a sharp, mocking sound. "Or what? You'll cry to the sheriff? Go ahead, farm boy. See who they believe." The standoff escalated when the manager, a slick-haired man named Harlan, emerged from the back. "What's this ruckus?" he growled, siding with Lucy instantly, her uncle, as it turned out. "These kids are trouble, Harlan. Probably lifted that cash from my till." The accusation hung heavy, the crowd murmuring. Alex felt the noose tightening. In his past life, he'd lost fights like this, branded a liar. But not today. He pulled out his sales ledger from the morning's market hall, proof of his earnings from the strange seedless watermelons. "Here's your evidence," he said, slamming it down. "We earned every cent. Now apologize, or I'll sue you for slander and shut this dump down." Harlan blanched, but Lucy doubled down, shoving the ledger away. "Fake! You're all liars!" The drama peaked as the sheriff burst in, summoned by a nosy customer. Interrogations flew, tempers flared, until witnesses from the market vouched for Alex. Lucy's face crumpled as Harlan fired her on the spot, her screams echoing, "You'll regret this, Thompson!" Alex walked out victorious, the boys cheering, but he knew this was just the beginning. Mary would hear about it, and she'd come gunning. Back at the farm, the storm hit harder. Alex found Emily in the fields, bent over with a hoe, tears streaming down her face. "Mom made me," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Said if I didn't work, she'd kick Grandpa out." Rage exploded in Alex's chest, a betrayal that cut deep, echoing the endless toil of his past life. He marched to the main house, kicking the door open. Jack and Tom lounged inside, feet up, while Mary sipped coffee. "What the?" Jack started, but Alex was on him in a flash, grabbing his collar and slamming him against the wall. "You lazy bastards think you can sit here while Emily breaks her back? Get out there, now!" Mary leaped up, her face twisted in fury. "How dare you? They're studying for college, real futures, not your dirt farming dreams." Tom swung at him, but Alex dodged, countering with a punch that sent Tom sprawling. The fight turned brutal, fists flying, furniture crashing, as years of resentment poured out. "You stole my life once," Alex roared, pinning Jack. "Not again." Neighbors gathered, drawn by the commotion, whispering about Mary's favoritism. The sheriff arrived again, but this time, Alex had the upper hand. Witnesses confirmed the brothers' laziness. Mary shrieked as Jack and Tom were forced into the fields, hose in hand. "You'll pay for this!" she spat, her eyes venomous. As the sun set, Alex collapsed by the lake, exhausted but exhilarated. His crops were thriving, the void's magic turning the land into a bounty. Chuck, the store owner from town, approached with a contract. "Your weird fruits, I'll buy 'em all. 3 days a cycle." Alex signed, a grin breaking through. Money meant power, power to protect Victoria. That night, under the stars, he confessed to her by the cabin. "I want you, Victoria, all of you, scars and all." She hesitated, tears glistening. "But my past, the town." He pulled her close. "We'll fight them together." Their kiss was electric, a promise amid the storm. But as Sophia watched from the shadows, coughing weakly, Alex knew more battles loomed. Mary's revenge, the town's whispers, and a secret that could unravel everything. The air buzzed with anticipation as Willow Creek's town square transformed into a makeshift banquet hall. Tables groaned under piles of roasted pork, chicken, and fish. Gifts from Chuck, who'd turned Alex's exotic crops into a booming business. Banners fluttered in the breeze, declaring Thompson-Reyes Union, a defiant stand against the town's prejudices. Alex stood tall in a crisp shirt, his heart pounding. Today, he'd claim his future. Victoria approached, her scarred face radiant in a simple dress, Sophia by her side, her cough subdued by the void's hidden medicines. "You sure about this?" Victoria whispered, her eyes searching his. Alex nodded, pulling her into a hug. "More than anything, you're my queen." But drama lurked. Mary stormed in mid-ceremony, her face a thundercloud, Jack and Tom flanking her like henchmen. "This is a disgrace," she bellowed, pointing at Victoria. "Marrying that convict's daughter? You'll ruin us all!" The crowd gasped, whispers turning to shouts. Alex stepped forward, his voice booming. "Ruin? You ruined me, stole my chances, broke my spirit. But look at me now. This is my family. Get out, or I'll make you." Jack lunged, fists raised, but Trent and the boys, now Alex's loyal crew, blocked him. "Back off," Trent yelled, a far cry from the bully he'd been. The standoff peaked as the sheriff intervened, siding with Alex after hearing the town's support. Mary retreated, defeated, her curses fading into the night. The engagement feast erupted in cheers. Chuck raised a toast. To Alex and Victoria, proof that underdogs win. Laughter filled the air as the boys stuffed their faces, Emily danced with joy, and Grandpa beamed. Under the stars, Alex and Victoria shared a quiet moment. "I'll build us a home," he promised. "Surgery for your scars, college for Emily. We'll chase the American dream. Together." Sophia pulled him aside, her eyes grateful. "You've saved us, Alex. But watch your back. Mary won't stop." He nodded, the void's power humming in his veins. As fireworks lit the sky, Alex looked to the horizon. Battles won, but the war for redemption raged on. With love, grit, and a touch of magic, he'd forge an empire from the ashes.